Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have the final bus of Route 375 and a side order of buses suck. So yeah, we're doing a bus creepypastas today.
We're hating on buses today.
Yeah. So the final bus of Route 375 is credited to Scary for Kids, which is a website where it's like urban legends and stuff like that. Again, that are scary for kids, hence the title. And it's based off of a Beijing urban legend. I will have links in the description below to where you can check out the Scary for Kids and the another like source for the Beijing urban legend. But we found this on creepypasta.wiki. So it's like 3 times it's like 3 times removed from the original material. But I did like a cursory check. It's mostly the same. Like they just kind of like their own kind of interpretation of it and stuff. And then our side order today is Buses Suck by ClericOfMadness on creepypasta.wiki, which is a piece of microfiction or micropasta.
Microfiche.
Yes. I think it like comes in at like a whopping 3 paragraphs. Yeah. Whereas the other one is also rather short, hence why we're kind of doing 2 today. The other one clocks in at like just under a page. So but I guess we'll do our initial rundowns for both, and then I don't know how you guys have yours set up. I've set my notes up for doing the final bus of Route 375, and then like all the way up down to final thoughts for that one, and then buses suck all the way through to final thoughts for that one. So do we want to do it that way, or do you guys want to just kind of like tackle them one after the other and then like final thoughts for both at the end?
I'm fine with doing A then B.
Okay.
Personally.
One at a time is fine.
Okay, cool. All right, so I suppose we'll do an initial thoughts for both of them right now. I'm going to partially recommend the final bus of Route 375, but I'm not going to recommend Buses Suck.
I'm actually going to parrot that because I'm going to partially recommend the final bus of Route 375, and I'm not going to recommend Buses Suck.
All right.
Interesting. I didn't actually put a full recommendation. I didn't write my recommendation out. I'll go partial on Route 375, and I'll go partial on the other one as well. I'll go double partial. Just stay on the fence. Be completely non-committal, and we'll see if that changes. Yes.
All right. Well, let's dive into a rundown. We're going to start off with the final bus of Route 375. So, on a night in November 1995, 2 men, an old and a younger man, were waiting for the last bus of the line, Route 375 in Beijing. Despite not knowing each other, they got to talking until the bus arrived, where they proceeded to get on and sit at different spots. The bus was pretty empty, save for the driver and the female ticket taker. Eventually, the bus stopped, and 3 guys hopped on the bus. 2 of them were helping a disheveled one in the middle to walk. As they got on, the atmosphere became dismal and calm. Shortly after, the older man from earlier began picking a fight with the younger man he'd been talking to at the bus stop. And the commotion got so bad that the driver stopped and kicked them off the bus. before continuing on. As soon as the bus began leaving again, the older man apologized for the act. He claimed that the trio of men who hopped on the bus didn't have feet and had actually been floating, and that they had to get off that bus. They both went to the local police station to report this, but of course, no one believed them. The next day, the bus was declared missing, and only several days later was it found 100 kilometers away in a water reservoir. Inside the bus, while the driver and the ticket lady were missing, and in fact never seen again, there were 3 very badly decomposed corpses. The mysteries surrounding this finding also included the fact that the bus wouldn't have had enough gas to travel that far. The gas tank was filled with fresh blood. The corpses were too decomposed for just 48 hours. An autopsy also confirmed that there had been no intentional meddling of the bodies. And the police went through all the security cameras set up around the reservoir, and yet nothing amiss was found. Like, there's nothing out of the ordinary. And to this day, it remains an unsolved mystery. Finn. So I suppose we'll move on to everyone tolerates the Grand Inquisitions. At this point, Mikey, do you have anything?
I got nothing.
Gamer?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
First one is an old man dash. Some also say an old woman dash was waiting at a bus stop at midnight, making conversation with the only other person at the stop, a quiet young gentleman, period.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few problems with that.
Okay.
Bit of a run on. Don't like the use of the colon and unnecessary dashes. Because
I mean, I guess it could have been. Yeah.
Let me say my piece.
Okay. Yeah. I'll stop.
The story's already reading like it's a person telling us the story.
Yeah.
So how would you say dashes when you're telling someone a story? You wouldn't. You would just have them as commas.
Okay. Or even have them as, have that in brackets. Like some say an old woman. Yeah. I mean,
the dashes just felt weird to me.
Okay.
And yeah, I would just split this up into 2 sentences so it's not as run-on-y. It'd be like an old man, comma, some say an old woman, comma, to comma that out, or bracket it, whatever you want, was waiting at a bus stop at midnight, period. They were making conversation with the only other person at the stop, comma, a quiet young gentleman, period.
Okay,
it just
fair
kind of
enough.
spaces it out and has better pacing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This one you might fight me on, but that's fine
Mhm.
because I'm almost fighting me on it. So here we are. There were no other passengers along with them except for the driver and the female ticket taker. So when I hear passengers on a bus, I consider that the people who pay to use the service. Like, yeah, technically the driver and the ticket taker are also riding the bus, but it kind of feels weird that this sentence groups them as passengers.
Okay, I see what you're going with. It's a little pedantic, but I see where you're going. Yeah.
How is this pedantic?
Because you're being really nitpicky.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a problem when I try to get in the nitpick. No, not try. When I am
in the nitpick
forced into the nitpick nook, but it's okay when you do it. I see how it is.
I don't like being in the nitpick nook.
I don't give you shit for it whenever you do.
You guys always give me shit for being in the. You guys always give me shit for being in the nitpick nook.
I just say you're in the nook. I don't give you. Regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
I just didn't like that they were being grouped as passengers because they're technically not, even though they're riding the bus, so they're passengers. But
by description, yeah, they are. No. Yeah, I'm actually not trying to fight you on this. Like, I can see where you're coming from.
By that logic, if a fly flies into the bus, it is also a passenger.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I understand. Like the other 2 people are just doing their jobs; they're not really passengers. So Yeah.
Okay, so like,
And here's another way to say it.
Mm.
If you and I go for a car ride,
yeah,
are you a passenger?
technically yes,
You're
but
technically
I'm the driver. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
still a passenger in that vehicle. there are like anywhere between like 4 to 6 seats in a car, and the driver's seat is in fact one of them. And there go, a passenger is somebody who sits in a seat in a car.
Yeah, but how far do you want to go this? If like if I'm bringing my Xbox over to your place and you're driving me, is my Xbox a passenger?
No, because it's an item. It's a piece of equipment.
I hate this. Regardless,
I'm actually not like trying to fight you on this. I'm just having fun.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
The definition of passenger: a traveler on a public or private conveyance other than the driver, pilot, or crew.
Okay. Then we have confirmation on it.
I would like to bring up a quote real quick.
Okay.
Which is what you were doing to me constantly.
I will accept that.
Anyways,
Here's here.
thank you, Mikey.
Yes.
How I would reword that is a couple of ways. One way is there were no other passengers along with them, so they were alone with the driver and the female ticket taker.
Yeah.
Or no one else was on the bus besides them, the driver, and the female ticket taker.
Boom. Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a little long-winded, but we got that.
At that point, I was having fun because these are short stories. So it's like, fuck it. We're here. Let's have some fun.
You are allowed to have fun. That is half.
As
the
are
reason
you.
we do this. Yeah. And then the last one, which might be nitpicky as well. I don't know. On the third day, the police discovered the missing bus in a water reservoir about 100 kilometers away from its destination, Zhangshan, which I'm assuming is how you say that. Zhang, I think. It's with an X. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Were so-called Fragrant Hills. Inside the bus, there were 3 very badly decomposed corpses. So to that, I'm like, should it be 5 bodies? Because the driver and the ticket taker, right? And the 3 ghosts.
Yeah.
Unless, like, they got eaten or something, so they're gone now. I don't know.
Yeah. My assumption while reading it was that they only found 3 bodies. They never found the driver or the ticket taker.
But it doesn't, like, explicitly say that, and I feel like it should.
Yeah.
Because
It
that would
is
add
bizarre.
more to the mystery, specifically pointing out the fact that the driver and the ticket taker were never found.
Yeah.
Like, that's a...
Yeah, I may have showed my
It
hand
will-
when I was doing the rundown, so.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a very well-used, like, ending to most stories. Is like, and they were never found. You know?
Yeah. And they were never seen again.
So yeah. 3 bodies is fine. Them being heavily decomposed, because that's the zombies and everything, or whatever they are.
Mhm.
Unless whatever magic they do also did that to the employees, at which case it would be 5. If it said 5 very badly decomposed corpses, they'd be like, okay, then it did that to them. But
I'm gonna say, like, because it's not mentioned, I'm guessing that those 2 people are missing, whereas the 3 bodies that are decomposing are supposed to be the 3 men that showed up like that night.
for sure.
Yeah. And I actually have some theories on, like, I have a thing in my actual thoughts regarding that whole thing, but like we can wait for that.
Okay. Then we'll move on from.
Okay.
On to standard notes.
Okay, on to actual thoughts.
Yes.
So I'm gonna actually repeat what you said earlier with your first grammar acquisition. So, an old man, some also say an old woman, was waiting at the bus stop at midnight, making conversation with the only other person at the stop, a quiet young gentleman. Old woman, man, sorry, what knight lives in that castle over there? I'm 37. What? I'm 37. I'm not old. Well, I can't just call you man. Well, you could say Dennis. I didn't know your name was Dennis.
I know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you? Sorry. Like, as soon as it said an old man, some also say an old woman, immediately the Monty Python sketch played out in my head, and I had to hunt down the proper quote for it. So, but moving on to the next thing here. The altercation escalated, and the bus driver forced them both off the bus while it was still moving. That's that's not in my notes, but I just read that as like, wait, there's a note. Like, obviously, like you could ensue that like they stopped the bus and kicked them out because that's what a normal person would do. But we all know what assuming means on this show. It makes an ass of you and me. So, moving on with the rest of the quote. When they got off and the bus zoomed away, the old man was no longer angry. He told the young man that he had saved their lives. Those three new passengers didn't have feet. They were floating. They were not living people, he said. Well, based on what happens next for that bus, I'm sure the driver and the ticket taker were really appreciated the fact that you gave them the heads up. Oh, wait. No, you didn't. I kind of want a sequel where the ghost of the driver and the ticket taker now start stalking that old man.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a dick move, but I mean, would they even believe him?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, like look what happens in the next bit where like they go to the police station. So like,
yeah, and it could be one of those things where if you mention that there's a problem, that's when they get you.
Yeah, I guess the old man was like basically like collateral damage.
Kind of, yeah, because if he was like he made the fuss to leave, and then as he was leaving, he could have said, "By the way, those guys don't have feet," and then run. But if they heard him say that, they may have gone after him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like I had to make the hard choices, son. Yeah, so like I just like first off, yeah, altercation escalated. The bus driver forced them off the bus. You gotta leave now. Boot. Like as the bus is still moving. The ticket taker's actually like really swole. She's like, it's like, and on your left, you'll see your exit. What? But yeah, silliness aside, yeah, like I kind of do want a sequel story, or like even like a game or something like some game fodder idea where like this old man is being haunted by like the ghosts of the people that he left behind die on a haunted bus.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool. My next thing here, I mentioned it kind of. After that, they went to the nearest police station to report this event, but nobody believed them. To which I said, weird. Because, yeah, like, who the fuck would believe them? However, the very next day, the bus company issued a statement. Last night, the final bus of Route 375 vanished, along with the driver and ticket lady. The police immediately chased down the old man and the young man. Who I need an old priest and a young priest. Sorry. Who were initially assumed to be mentally ill when they tried to report the incident earlier. They were both interviewed on the news. Yeah, this makes total sense that the police would go after the old man and the young man. Not because the police like believe them, but because they are now suspect number 1 and number 2 for the vanishing of the bus. That's how police the police work. Guilty until proven. If you call in something like this and then like it turns out to be verified, congrats, you're now suspect number 1.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the next thing I have here. And on the third day, the bus lived. Sorry. On the third day, apparently that's just like I'm not even like these aren't even notes. These are just things like things I'm just realizing as I'm like reading my quotes.
Very chaotic today.
A little
We're
bit.
a different kind of energy.
Yeah. So on the third day, the police discovered the missing bus in a water reservoir about 100 kilometers away from their destination, Jiangshan, or so-called Fragrant Hills. Inside the bus, there were 3 very badly decomposed corpses, and then it kind of goes on with like little like briefing, like little like all the other weird things about it. So game fodder time. I would definitely use this as a seed for a Delta Green game, or even like an esoterrorist game, like a game where you're agents investigating a strange like crime, or like that kind of turns out to be something supernatural. You could basically use this like whole story as a pre-generated briefing for that scenario. Like
Pretty much.
the game starts after, like, when the police find the bus in the water reservoir and the badly decomposed bodies. Also, just as an aside, because it does mention in the brief, or in the briefing, in the details of the strange details, the fact that the corpses were found to decomposed for just 48 hours, even if it was summer, the process of decomposition would not be. Oh, I guess it did say like even if it was summer, because it did say it was November earlier. So I guess it makes sense that, like, I guess they say even with like even in warm weather, the bodies would not decompose that fast.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I just read over the even if, and I was like, why are they mentioning summer? It's November. And then my last thing here. To this day, it remains an unsolved mystery. So here's my question to my co-hosts. What do we think happened? Like, what were the trio of guys? Personally, my money is on some kind of predatory ghosts that were like that hopped on the bus and decided to try and make a quick meal out of the bus driver or whoever else was on the bus at the time. But I could make the argument that it was some kind of like they were some kind of cultist to some eldritch entity. Maybe they are all hosts to some supernatural creatures living inside their body like a parasite. And the disheveled dude was suffering from either like prolonged exposure to having it inside his body, or they had just survived a previous investigator/agent raid on their cult lair. So, because if like they're just like as the bus driver's driving, they find them on the side of the road, like waving down the bus. So or rather the things within them were looking to find some new hosts to swap into. And so a spell of dominate and then a blood ritual later, bam, the cult lives on 100 kilometers from where it was. So my idea is either more likely it's a ghost story that we're dealing with here, and the ghost took the people on the bus for a ride, or this other convoluted idea I had where it was cultists from another scenario trying to continue on. But I'm curious to see if you guys have any ideas of like what you thought was going on with the trio, like what they were.
All right. So I'm gonna go with the Supernatural Task Force.
Okay.
The 2 bigger ones that were holding the one guy that had his head down, they were carting him to the afterlife. And getting on the bus signifies that the bus will be entering the afterlife. So basically, they're the Death's Ringers type thing.
Nice. Oh, what if the bus was actually a ghost bus? Like the bus is actually the ghost of a bus, and its ticket taker and driver, and it is like it was always like 100 kilometers. Like that's where it where it crashed or something, like 100 kilometers away in that reservoir. And so like when the 2 passengers hopped on the first time, they were the only living people. And so they got off the ghost bus before it went to the afterlife.
Also, are you implying that buses have souls?
Yes. According to animism, everything has a soul, which is a widely held like early belief system in Asia. So, and really other like lots of places around the world, like animism is a thing where like you believe in, or like the belief in that like all things in nature and even like into the modern day, like non-animate objects have souls or spirits. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, the Supernatural Task Force.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Always
Okay.
a welcome addition to any story.
hmm
Gamer,
me,
do you have? Yes.
I kind of thought more, like I don't want to say mundanely, but kind of mundanely, where these guys are basically some sort of zombie-like or spirit thing that is that just kind of patrols the I don't say patrols, hunts on the highways, and it's like a it's literally just like you don't pick up hitchhikers kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That kind of ghost that just like you pick them up and then you're dead. Like you will show up dead. It doesn't matter. Like it's not tied specifically to buses. It's just if you pick these guys up, you will be dead. You'll be killed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what they do, I don't know how they go about doing all the murder and all that, but that's the way I'm seeing it.
Okay. I mean, that's a very I think that falls in line with my go-to is that they're some kind of predatory ghosts. Because
Yeah.
like you see that a lot of like ghost stories in China, Japan, like even in America, like a cab driver picks up a ghost or something like that, and like something bad happens, or like similarly, like a ghost hops onto a bus, kind of thing like that, or even like a ghost bus or a ghost train. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and not like a ghost bus or a ghost train, like the bus is a ghost and train in this instance. But I mean, like there's ghosts on the bus. I've had it with these motherfucking ghosts on this motherfucking bus. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Didn't we do a train scenario where there was a station that didn't exist?
Yes, Kitsuragi.
So
Drug station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe the bus was on its way to a bus station that didn't exist, so they
That-
had to get off.
Yeah, that's very that would be very in line with like Chinese and Japanese like urban legends, because again they have a lot in from what I've observed. There's a lot stronger like use of like public transit in both countries. In fact, a lot of countries in Asia. So therefore, it would make sense that there's a lot of ghost stories and urban legends surrounding public transit.
Mm-hmm. Like in Japan, they
So-
absolutely love that bullet train.
Yeah. So
Like I was
yeah.
actually watching a video learning about that a little while ago, where like kids would like aspire to be the driver of the bullet train.
Yeah.
Where like in Western culture, I mean, kids like trains and stuff, but I don't think it's the same sort of reverence you would have for a train conductor.
No,
as
we
for the bullet train driver.
yeah, we've definitely in the West, we've definitely, or at least in North America, because I think in Britain, like trains are a lot more prevalent even than in North America. Like America specifically has like kind of moved away from public transportation and like train travel and stuff like that in lieu of personal vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
Way more than like and like other parts of other parts of like there's like the whole infrastructure that we used that North America used to have for like trains and like getting around by like rail and stuff like that has kind of diminished in the last in the last handful of decades. So where it doesn't seem to have gone away as it seems to have like picked up speed even in other countries. So yeah,
because bullet trains are fast.
Yeah. And like likewise for buses and stuff like that. But I guess the closest we have in North America is like the Greyhound buses and stuff like that. Like bus transportation is pretty prevalent, but like even then, like most people would like there's more focus in our society on personal vehicles rather than public transportation.
Yeah.
So. But it is interesting to have it in like see a country where like that is it's more prevalent to have public transportation and see how that influences their urban legends and their creepypastas. But yeah, so ghosts on a bus or ghosts on a train, wherever it is. Ghosts on public transportation.
Pretty much, yeah.
Haunted public transportation. There we go. Okay. Well, that's the end of my thoughts, or my actual thoughts for the Route 375. So, Mikey, B stands for evil.
All right. Let's do a quick check here. So the only issue that I had was the 3 bodies found in the water. So because I assumed that you had the driver, you had the ticket taker, and then there's one other.
Oh, it could have been the disheveled guy, and the other 2 survived.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I didn't even think of that. I just assumed it was the 3 guys.
Well,
Okay.
I assumed it was them. It's like, well, who's the third one? And to me, that was a mystery that wasn't explained. Like, one of the things could have been like, and we don't know who the third person in the bus was. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they moved. That's true. They did travel 100 kilometers. They could have picked up another passenger.
That's true.
That third guy could have actually been just a rando that they got from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm. And then the 3 monsters actually just left anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after filling up the tank with blood and pushing it into a reservoir.
See, this is where I wish they mentioned went strip said to the driver and the ticket taker were among the dead, although their bodies are far more decomposed than that, because it just says the corpses found were too decomposed for just 48 hours. But it could just be the spirits, what the bodies that they were possessing,
Yeah.
And because they did their kill, they're just quote unquote sleeping,
Yeah, or they left the bodies they were piloting, and they took over the bodies of the driver and the ticket taker. But who's to say that even happened? That was my go-to, was that the bodies that were found in the bus were of the people, the footless people, and then the driver and the ticket taker were taken by whatever was behind all this. So, but I do agree. There should maybe it should have mentioned something about how the driver and the ticket taker were not on site.
There's a lot of characters in this story, and because of that, we need some clarification on these bodies, because it could be any of them or none of them. It could just be 3 other people that got picked up, and the ticket taker and the driver actually got away, but so did the creatures.
Yeah, I think if I was to use this as the briefing for material, I can see one of you guys as characters says well, who are the bodies? It's we've identified them. We're still trying to get identifications. As far as we can tell, it's not the driver or the ticket taker. We're still trying to get ID. That's how I would handle it in a game if I was just using this wholesale. So. Yeah. So clarification.
Yeah. So that was my number 1 issue that I had, and that's my only actual thought. So.
All right. Gamer.
Well, first off, no one's talked about the art yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's a piece of art in this one. Yeah.
Right. The art.
Yep. It's
the
a cool
ghost
shot.
bus.
Yeah, it's a cool shot. It's all misty and everything, but kind of looks like a school bus to me.
Let me take a look at it, because hang on.
That being said,
let's take a look.
It is foggy.
Yeah.
It is foggy enough that there's almost no color coming through, so maybe it could be white.
Hang
on.
on.
What I ended up doing was
okay.
I saved the picture and I opened it up in Photoshop and extracted the colors out of the side of that bus. The hue in it is all bluey kind of colors. I'm not detecting any yellow, and out of the 3 of us, I should have the highest chance of detecting yellow.
I'm straight up looking at the front. Does that say school, or is that is there Chinese or is there Cantonese, or is there Chinese writing on that front of there? What does that say?
It's too obscure.
So
it's obscure too much.
It is
know.
also
The general shape of it is a standard yellow school bus.
Well, it is yes, but also it's a flat front bus, which is usually a public transportation bus.
Mm-hmm. But then the thing is, it looks like it has spots for the flashing lights of a school bus.
You know what? I'm
On
going
the
to look up
top there.
something. Chinese buses, 90s. Chinese public buses or public transit. Oh, it is it it does it even it looks more like a school bus than most of the like I'm like sifting through like Chinese buses in the 90s and stuff like that, and like
I did that too.
I'm not seeing one that even like fits that bill like closely. Like they're really square at the front. They don't have that arc, that like kind of dome, that kind of like curved top that like school buses have. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't, but like it's very likely that this is just like a mock-up of a school bus.
Mm.
The yellow removed.
Hang on, because like school buses have are there school buses that have a front?
Yeah.
Or no, that have like a flat, that are flat?
Yeah.
Hey. Gamer and Yellow,
yeah.
have you inverted the colors on the image to see if it turns yellow?
Why would I do that?
Because it makes them yellow.
Because just to see what it looks like.
I mean, I'll do it.
Also,
if I wanted to make it yellow, I'll just get a yellow paintbrush and just color the whole thing yellow.
I'm just gonna post this for you guys to like show you what I found. I think I figured it out. I think that looks more in line with the bus that we have in the photo.
Yeah, I told
yeah.
you.
No, I know. I know. I'm just like yeah. Yeah, and what I posted for the audience is a flat-fronted school bus, and it looks almost identical to the one in the fog and the image. So
yeah,
again, it's not.
That doesn't mean that company only makes school buses. You could just paint that thing white and put public transit on the side or whatever, and
exactly, yeah. Even and again, like depending on where it was in China or like somewhere, like they might have just used like a different colored bus, like school bus, like for their public transportation.
There's the inverted one. I actually kind of like that better. It looks more fucked up.
Yeah, that is fucked up. Jesus.
It looks way more supernatural.
But yeah, okay. So, I mean, as far like as a cursory image though, it does fit. It does work.
Yes.
It's just if you're being assholes and looking into it way deeper than you should.
I mean, I accepted it. It's fine.
Yeah. I am also seeing other title cards, like other images for this creepypasta or urban legend that do show a regular what is clearly a public transportation bus. So, but that is neither there.
Indeed. So I'll move on.
Okay.
The fact that the bus did not have enough petrol for it to keep going that far after a whole day's worth of travel. This is listing facts about things after the fact. Discovery that the petrol tank was filled with fresh blood instead of petrol. So, to that I'm like, they use the human's blood as fuel, I suppose, to get that far? So it's basically the plot of Blood Drive, which is a movie where people start killing each other and have converted their cars to run on blood because there's more blood around than there is fuel.
Is that the like Mad Max horror movie? Like horror?
Basically, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
And that sounds silly, which it is, but like for a normal gas engine, that would only run on gas. Diesel engine is a little bit more forgiving with its fuel types. That being said, it has to be something that's like oil-based and flammable, which blood is not. So it will not run on blood.
Yeah.
So, in the mundane aspect of this, no, it wouldn't have worked. That being said, these are footless spirit zombie people, and who knows what kind of supernatural mumbo-jumbo rituals they could do with the blood to make it work.
Exactly.
So, okay. But also, there's nothing to say that the hitchhiker ghost things didn't, just fuel up at a gas station after killing the humans, then drive more, like do it completely mundanely. Because right off the bat, they don't look like they're not normal. They look normal right off the bat. Because the one guy noticed that they didn't have feet, but the driver, the ticket taker, and the other guy did not notice. So it's entirely plausible that they could just drive up to a gas station, fuel up, and keep going.
Yeah, honestly, that when they say it's like they didn't have enough petrol after the end, it's like the thought did cross my mind. It's like, well, I mean, within 100 kilometers, they could have found a gas tank or a gas station.
Yep,
exactly. And then, like, when they ran out of money from the dudes that they'd killed or whatever, they drained them of their blood to try to go further, just because they don't know any better, or because they're angry. Which of course didn't work, so they just pushed it into the water reservoir.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine, we're done.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, I took a lot of this mundanely.
Well, mundanely, but also like spoopy. So
yeah, for sure. I think it's like realistic fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah, idiosyncratic or
yeah, sort of.
A little it's a little idiosyncratic or a little like what was it, magical realism. That's that's the term for like magical things that are like treated like as mundane things. So
for sure. We actually kind of talked about this next one, which is 3 bodies instead of 5 or 2 or whatever.
3, sir. It's like 1, 2, 5, 3, sir. Right, 3.
Yeah. With all that being said, though, I feel like this was set up to be a twist, but I already got it long before the twist, so I don't know. It didn't really get me.
Yeah, it's an urban legend, and it's like, well, what the thing is like. But who was phone? Or like, but who was
compare this to
like it's an urban like the thing is like this creepypasta is based off of an actual urban legend. So it's like,
I know.
So it's like it's really just an unsolved mystery. Like that's where it falls under, is like it's
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the flow of the story, how it got to the point that the corpses that are there are way more decomposed than just for 48 hours. I already kind of got that with the fact that they were not humans because they had no feet and everything. So I kind of assumed that they would be decomposed corpses or whatever once the glamour dropped or whatever. So that part didn't really get me, even though it kind of felt like it was meant to do that.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I think it was supposed to be treated like this is a true crime sort of, or like unsolved mystery sort of thing, where like they're just giving us the facts that were found at the site of where the bus was found, kind of thing. So like I don't think it's supposed to like mean that like it's not supposed to have a like necessarily a punchline. It's just like I think the punchline is like it's like all this weird shit happened, and it's still an unsolved mystery as to what happened exactly. Yeah.
Yes, but all in all, by the end of the read of this, I like that this is basically a fleshed out version of an urban legend, and it really does add to its, I'm going to say, quote unquote validity, knowing that this is more than just the story that's here. It's an actual urban legend that people are talking about for this.
Yeah, this is a creepypasta that was archived on creepypasta.wiki, based off of an urban legend that was put on another website, which they based their story off of, and like a more kind of not official, but like another like urban legends website.
So like it's many levels removed, but at some point it was just some guy telling a story.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that this old man is actually a real person, is what I'm saying. Whether or not he was drunk or something and he didn't actually see this stuff, but regardless, it's entirely possible that this is all based in actual real life.
I want to believe that there is some asshole, like some old asshole in China that like was sitting at a bus stop at the end of the night, like at midnight, And like there was only one last guy there, and he decided to fuck with him by telling him this urban legend, and then they get on the Route 375 bus. Like,
I mean, that's not how I was going with it, but okay.
no, but I just like the it just came to my head. I was like, I'd love that to be like some asshole just like fucked with somebody else on at a bus. It would not be the Route 375 because Route 375 in this story doesn't like it's no longer around. But I just like this, like, I heard this story once, and it just like fucked with him, and then walked onto the bus and like scared the crap out of that other guy, and then that other guy shared it online, and then it just kept going like wildfire.
Well, what I was saying is basically everything was going normal. He's just an old guy, and there's the young guy there. They're talking. They get on the bus, but like maybe the old guy like had a few drinks that weren't really mentioned, and and then like he sees these guys stumble on, and maybe like he can't see their feet because they're all wearing black shoes and it's a black floor, and he's all blurry eyed. He's like, they have no feet, man. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
Oh, so you're like, yeah, look, this is an urban legend.
Yeah, then he starts. He claims that the kid took his wallet so they can get kicked off the bus. He's like, I saved your life. Those guys didn't have feet, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go write a story about it. Tell everyone.
Yeah, and like the kid is just like impressionable enough to like believe that he actually got saved, and then like the next day that the next day they did like report that it got missing because those three guys were actually like murderers.
Yeah, yeah. It just happened to be that they like if that actually happened, that's unfortunate. But they just happened to be murderers and killed the driver and the ticket taker or something.
Yeah, and then like again because things just get blown out of proportion when it comes to like hearsay stories and stuff. The whole like the blood in the tank, the decomposed bodies like were too far decomposed. That was all just it got exaggerated over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. But the creatures themselves, as I said before, I'm kind of unsure of the goal of the creatures, of what they're wanting to do. Like if they just want to kill and rip and tear until it's done, that's fine. But like what
honestly,
do they do with,
yeah.
like if the driver and the ticket taker got away, cool. If they didn't, where are their bodies? Did they just eat the meat and the bones, but they don't like the blood, so they just drain the blood into the tank to hide the evidence?
Often in like urban legends and like legends and stuff like that in like China and Japan and stuff like that, very often bodies just get spirited away. Like just like it's sort of like the fairy folk, like they take the wholesale the body.
Okay, but there's blood.
But there's blood, yeah, or they drain the blood and then they took the rest of it. Or maybe that was like part of the blood rich. Maybe the blood actually didn't come from the driver or the ticket taker. It came from the trio, like what was left in the host bodies, and they took them. A lot of times ghosts in those like in those parts of the world, they're more like they're hungry ghosts. So they're just predatory things that like hunt people or haunt people and like take them away or eat them.
Yeah, they chase the protagonist around until they get a power pellet, and then they turn around and run away because the protagonist will eat them at that point.
Yeah, it's very Pac-Man-esque style. Yeah,
cool.
Thank you for making it critically silly again.
You're welcome. That's what I do sometimes. But yeah, that's about all I got for notes.
Okay. So we'll do our final thoughts for the final bus of Route 375, I guess.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So for this first story, before we go further into the side dish, for this story for Route 375, it has potential for game fodder in an investigative horror scenario, even just using it whole cloth as the initiating like briefing for the mystery. So honestly, that's why I partially recommend it. Is like I read this story, I was like, I could totally make a game out of it using this. And as a story itself, it's not terrible. It's kind of quick and done, but it gets to the point that's trying to do. So
yeah,
it was succinct. So yeah, I'll partially recommend this story. Mikey, these stands for evil.
All right. So again, my main issue with this was the mystery of the three bodies. If it was stated in the unsolved mysteries section of this that they didn't know who the third body was, or that the ticket taker and the driver's bodies weren't found, or something like that in the mystery section would have been enough for me to fully recommend this. Just because it's that would solve the mystery that I have while also maintaining a mystery.
Because those are facts that they would have. You would assume that they would know who those bodies are.
Yeah. I also had an idea that was based off of what Gamer was saying earlier. What if there was only one guy when that the old man saw? There's only one guy that hopped on when waving down the bus, but because the old man is drunk, we'll say from your earlier explanation is what may have happened or something. He was seeing threes.
Oh, I see. Going mundanely.
Yeah, going straight up mundanely, and then but turns out that guy is still because he's still haggard and stuff, and he is a disheveled serial killer. So he hopped on the bus,
keeping his head down to hide his face.
Exactly, and so he gave the ticket, and the old man thought he saw three people, and then also thought he saw that he didn't have any feet, or that they didn't have any feet in quotes. So that's when they hopped off the bus. And so that's why there's three bodies, is that it's the ticket taker, the driver, and the serial killer who just I guess killed himself after killing them.
Wow.
Or he went after the driver. There was a scuffle, and that's when the bus went off into the reservoir.
Yep.
It was a failed failed homicide, a failed yet successful homicide.
That explains everything except the blood in the tank.
That is the only Well, maybe after the crash, maybe they landed it ruptured something inside the car, inside the bus, and so as the bodies were laying there breaking down stuff, their blood flowed into the into the gap into the tank.
Oh, it just happened to run in there.
Yeah, it's all circumstantial.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy that. Sure. The way that I thought you were going to go with this is because you are normally way more into the supernatural aspect of this. You're going super mundanely, which I appreciate.
Well, I already said my supernatural piece earlier. So now I'm just kind of going full hog into the other possibilities.
Yes. That being said, how I thought you were going to go with it when you said the old man was seeing three, that sure, one guy walked on in the young guy's eyes, and three guys walked on in the old man's eyes, but that's because through him being drunk or something, he's not seeing reality 100% normally anymore.
Oh.
And those other two guys are actually the spirit things that are helping to push him around. They're not copies of him; they are the spirits.
Yeah, he's
and
actually
using this guy as a puppet.
It's Weekend at Bernie's. The guy's actually been dead the whole time, and these shadows are just puppeting him.
Totally.
I love that. That is, yeah.
See, just with a little bit more explanation.
Like at Bernie's. Oh my god.
Yeah. So, as Gamer was explaining for me, just a little bit more explanation, and this would be a full recommendation. But because they're not giving us details that they would have, I'm only partially recommending this.
That's fair. And Gamer.
Mm-hmm. For me, I like that it's a good quick read, and I always appreciate a good nope story because it's just so much more realistic when the character's I'm not gonna go do that thing just because I'm a character in a story.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, and the old man is I've lived long enough to nope out of this situation.
Mm-hmm. The monsters are interesting and subtle. That being said, they're probably a lot less subtle if they stayed on the bus and we saw what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with not knowing exactly what happened because I'm assuming. Yeah, I know. Because I like the mystery of that. Because for all I know, they could just be mundanely, like, it could just be a murderer that's killing them, and he was just seeing multiple people, like we were talking about, or um, they puppet people, or they just turn into huge monsters and just rip and tear until it's done. Who knows?
Mhm.
But yeah, I like that I don't really know, and I don't really need to know the answer.
Yeah, I think that's why I love these kind of like unsolved mystery things. Like it's because it's a talking piece that like you can like talk to your friends. Like, what do you think happened here? Like, and or like the wondering is as important as like potentially as knowing the answers. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather like wonder with these kind of things because like what the fuck happened here? Like why is there blood in the tank? Like was it a ghost or was it supernatural or was it like some kind of weird killer gone wrong or serial killer gone wrong?
Mm-hmm. And the characters I like. There's no Derplin syndrome with any of them really.
Yeah, the police were surprisingly like not derpish. Like they didn't like just outright believe them. They're like, no, that's stupid. Or like weird. We don't believe you on this. And then the next day, the thing goes missing, and 3 days later, they find it. And then they immediately contact the people, like the two witnesses that called it in. And it's like, and like I could understand, like they don't say it in the story, but you can definitely understand. It's like they're not contacting them because they believe them now. They're contacting them because they're now suspects.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I was saying, I like that there's no Derplin syndrome for the purposes of progressing the plot, which adds realism to all this. Especially since this is an actual urban legend that's kicking around, which adds even more realism to that. So, all that being said, I do really like the story, and there's a couple of things that annoy me. Like, yeah, they really should clarify the body situation because that changes this a number of different ways. But overall, I still like the story as it is, and I'm just going to recommend it because I do like it. The one little tweak would make it a lot better, but I like that it is an actual story that's been around potentially for a while. It's not just something that was just tossed up right now.
Yeah, supposedly been around since like the 90s, but like that's the thing about urban legends. Like unless you do like a deep dive investigation to try and find out the sources and stuff, like this could have come out like in the mid-aughts, in somewhere in China, and then like popped up on the internet and became a creepypasta urban legend sort of thing.
And with all the ways that we talked about how it could have gone, it made me think like if they told us how it went, we wouldn't have thought of all those other different options.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But that being said, we probably should have a little bit more clarification.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, but I still like it.
All right. So let's move on to the next to our side dish today, which is Buses Suck. So, like I said earlier, Buses Suck is by Cleric of Madness on the creepypasta.wiki. So, let's just dive into the rundown for this one. Randy is a survivor of a demon attack. Yes, you heard that right. You see, he had been riding a Greyhound bus when a woman boarded who was tall, blonde, busty, and wearing all leather, right down to her knee-high pumps. The studs on her eyes said trouble, and the one on her tongue, something she casually flashed Randy's direction, told him she was dangerous. She took the pair of seats next to Randy, and he could feel her looking over toward him periodically. Even from his seat, she smelled of roses and incense, the telltale scent of a succubus. After long hours on the bus, Randy lost his fight with staying awake, and the next time he woke up, the woman was on top of him. She was undressing him and began to siphon his energy sexually. Now, like Randy said at the beginning of this little tale, he's a survivor of a demon attack. Well, all he's going to say on the matter is, it's a good thing he had to pee at the time. Finn.
Did you just read that verbatim?
Oh no, I did paraphrase. very I took some bits and like paraphrased and like kind of cut it up to like make it a little bit more succinct. But yeah. Everyone tolerates the grammar. Do you guys have anything for grammar inquisition?
No.
Okay.
I have an it sentence.
I knew it. Okay, so off record, like before the recording, and while we were waiting for Mikey, Gamer and I were looking to see if there was actually any its, ends, or buts, and like I found one. I was like, oh, so we're gonna get an it story, aren't we? All right. Yeah. So, and now an it sentence. Take it away.
It all started when she got on board my Greyhound bus. Finn.
Oh, he owns it now, does he?
Yeah.
No, that's what he calls his member. Greyhound bus.
Oh, whoa! Nice. Penis joke.
Surprising.
Wow.
And that was a very succinct rundown.
Yeah. Yeah. Bus is stuck. It all started when she got on my Greyhound bus. Finn. All right.
That being said, Mikey does normally these strings of sentences, but sometimes single ones, to highlight sentences in the story that start with words that they shouldn't, like it's and ands and buts, because those are better words.
Yeah. All right. I suppose we move on to actual plots then now, since it all started when she got on my Greyhound bus. She was tall, blonde, busty, and wearing all leather, right down to her knee-high pumps. The studs on her eyes said trouble, and the one on her tongue, something she casually flashed my direction, told me she was dangerous. I don't know why, but when I read this, like started reading the story, it really did kind of feel kind of noir to me.
Yeah.
Like she came through my door, looking for trouble, like that kind of.
It does have the same kind of feel. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's it for that one comment. So I'll move on to the next one. I awoke to find her undressing me, bending forward to try and, well, all I will say is suck the life from me in a manner most fitting of a demoness that preys on sexual energy. And that's about the extent of where we get for like the attack sequence. And I gotta say, that is somehow more tastefully described than I was expecting. Like,
I mean, it's a micropasta, there's not much room.
That's true, yeah. I was like, I knew where it was kind of going when like she was describing like her and some of that, and then like he fell asleep and was like, oh no, we're about to get a bad scene, and then it's like, it's not. I mean, it insinuates something,
We get
but that's
it,
about
but we
it.
don't need to hear it.
Exactly, yeah. And then my last thing here, I won't go into detail as to how I managed to escape that encounter with my life, but I will say this. Never before have I been so glad to have had to pee. So my headcanon / like theory for what is going on here is a little mundane. It's sleep paralysis, kind of. Let me explain. So from the get-go, this dude is just weird / paranoid, or maybe just suffering from lack of sleep as a result of his like travel and stuff like that. And so has a little bit of a loopy perception on the situation that he finds himself in. So this woman is just a woman that comes on board the bus that he finds attractive. And then Randy finally succumbs to his sleep and wakes up, I do in quotes, into a dream. And he's not aware that it's actually a dream, and he envisions the woman as a demoness, and yes, probably pisses himself in his sleep. And that's when he like kind of finally comes to and stuff like that, and like the whole situation is over. So I feel sorry for the bus driver / employee who has to clean up that Greyhound bus at the end of the line. So yeah, it was
female just going, oh,
yeah. It's like
that's why she was looking at him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like she saw him pop the boner, and then like, yeah, it was just not. Yeah. It was all a dream. Like that's my explanation for this entire story. As short as it was, it's just like the character was suffering from like delusions of like because of like lack of sleep, and then was a little horny because of how hot the woman was, and then passed out finally, and the actual like demon experience was just a dream he had. So yeah, that's my explanation from headcanon for this whole story, this whole little micro story. So Mike, these stands for evil. Your actual thoughts.
All right. Well, let's start with the female that was wearing all leather. My visualization went to American Horror Story.
Okay.
So like even like a face mask or
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah.
That's leather.
See, what we don't get in the story is that this Greyhound is passing through Las Vegas.
She can't have too much of a face mask because she was like flicking her tongue at him.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, there
it
is a
still has
hole. There's technically a hole there, but
yeah, a hole for her eyes and a hole for her mouth. Yeah, it's
yeah.
basic mask, right? So
Yeah. Also, like there might potentially even be a hole in the back of her, in the back of the mask for like blonde hair for her long blonde hair to come out of.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
because like that's a thing.
Yep.
With masks. I'm told.
Yeah. That's the vibe I got there, which is something I thought I'd bring up. Next, I feel like there's so much more that could have been done. Like, why wasn't it a supernatural bus that sucks the life out of people?
Yeah. Like maybe she was never actually a passenger. Maybe it was all a hallucination. Like the bus manifests your wildest dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or
the bus is a mimic. It's like the Dianai house. It's like the Dianai house or something.
Or the other option is that she turns you into a bus.
Okay.
But like just some sort of imagination to this would have been better rather than just taking succubus and turning it into a straight up bus to suck.
Succubus. The buses suck. God damn it. I just clued in to like potentially why it's titled Buses Suck, because he's on a bus and he got sucked, but also succubus suck.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. So also, if you're going with like she turns them into a bus. Well, it is a Greyhound, so he's so it's really about a werebus.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. All right.
And yeah, that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Okay. Gamer, you're up.
Okay. I mean, it's a tiny little story. Goes by real quick. There's no real hurdles you have to climb over with bad grammar or whatever. So that was good. It's so short that like I didn't really have anything to directly note upon because like you kind of get it.
Yeah.
You know that like that's the way it is. I am also glad that that it was done a little bit tastefully and all that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a troll pasta, and it's made to tell a joke, both in name and in the punchline at the very end.
Yeah.
So I got it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really much to say on it, honestly.
Okay. Then do we head over to final thoughts then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so my dream theory aside, it's a really like you said, it's a really short like it's a micropasta. It's a piece of microfiction. Like that's it. That's what its purpose was. So that is a valid piece of creative writing. Like it is they are meant to be like this short to try and like convey some kind of quick thing, whether it be a creepiness or like a troll or something like that. I guess I'm gonna actually bump mine up to a partial recommendation, because if this is because it something you said, Gamer, like it did get a point across. For me, I wasn't gonna recommend it because there was nothing creepy about it. Like it was just like it was sort of just like a weird out there, like he was attacked by a succubus on a bus. Haha. Hence why buses suck in like different ways. But thinking on that, thinking a bit more on that rather than looking into a creepiness, I think I can partially recommend it, because if that is the case, it got that across, and it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense. So it wasn't like a completely wasted experience to read this like 3 paragraphs, which was my initial like kind of go to when I finished reading the story. I was like, well, this wasn't very scary, and this is actually kind of a letdown a little bit. But all right, on that matter, is I kind of wish it could have gone a little bit further to like add atmosphere and spookiness, but like again, it's the nature of micropastas. They are supposed to be like these quick, creepy experiences. Like try and get some creepy in a like only like 1 or 2, maybe 3 paragraphs. But yeah, so I'll partially recommend it, because it did actually it technically got something. It got a point across. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. Mikey, these stands for evil.
Yeah. So
stay firm on your conviction. Don't fall into the path I have chosen. No, so do what you want.
yeah. Well, I want to say that bringing up sleep paralysis makes it better.
Of course.
my dream explanation actually like made this better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that said, it's still not the greatest. Like, I feel like this is a bit of a troll pasta.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know it's tagged troll pasta on the very top, right?
I did not read that.
It's supposed to be a troll pasta.
I did not read that. Okay, I've been trolled.
I've been waiting for someone to realize that. It's like, I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, okay. In that case, then yeah, I give it a partial recommendation, 100%. 50% of the time, I give it a partial recommendation every time. Shit.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but I feel like it could have gone further with the idea of buses suck, which is the title.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, a demonic bus that sucks the life out of people.
No, I know, literally, like the bus is a suck you bus.
Yeah.
Fuck. I still hate that I missed that, like, the first read around of the story. I'm so angry at myself right now.
Yeah. So, I feel there's a lot of squandered potential that this could have had.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that one sentence is just. I've never had such a succinct rundown.
Yeah, it is the most succinct.
So that said, I still can't recommend this.
Okay. And
Cool.
Gamer.
For me, I saw it as it is right from the get-go.
Yep.
This story is not meant to be scary. at all.
No.
It's a joke on multiple fronts. It's a joke by the title. It's a joke by the punchline at the end, and it's a joke because there's nothing scary said through it aside from the fact that it's someone who survived being attacked by a demon. And reading it was a good clean read, and like I got a little chuckle with the punchline at the end, and for what it is as a troll pasta, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll recommend it for what it is. It's just if you're looking to read something to be scared, this ain't
and
it.
you miss you miss completely the troll pasta tag.
Yeah.
Like a certain asshole and idiot on this show.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone could possibly do that. Like, you would have to be real dense.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
These things happen. It's all right.
I feel like gamer, you could definitely do this, like, see how it feels. Ugh! Again to me.
No,
it's
I'm
definitely
gonna be the
merited.
bigger man, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna stand up here on my high ground. I have
That's
the high
even
ground.
worse.
You can't possibly win.
You can't win, Review Cultist. I have the high ground. Don't try it. And then I tried to do it, and you like cut off my legs and arms.
Yeah.
And then I slowly start falling into the lava.
Mm-hmm.
It was me. I was the idiot and imbecile.
Really? Oh shit! I didn't notice. It's fine. You know how many freaking recordings we've done where I'm like, oh, I missed this very obvious thing. Oh shit!
Yeah,
I do that all the time. That's my move.
I now know how it feels.
Yeah.
That felt like it was like kind of like a backhanded comment towards you. It's like now I know how it feels. Yeah, wait.
I've accepted. It's fine.
We're all idiots here, except for you, audience.
Mm-hmm.
But please continue.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's gonna be this week's episode. Partial recommendation for like all around, I believe, for the first story. The final bus of Route 375, and a non-recommendation, a partial recommendation, and then a full recommendation for Buses Suck, a side dish of a troll pasta. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter, so you can send us messages there. Tell the Review Cultist how much shit he is.
Wow,
I'm just like
being a dead horse at this point.
I'm just gonna be in the corner now.
Jeez.
No. You can send us messages there. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow without that W because the name is very long. Unlike these stories.
Yeah.
But and I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, big or small, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, and extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without these stories being written and posted online for people to get spooked by or laugh about or completely miss the point of a story and have to be told by their friends, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.